Hello, everyone. If you just caught me on the live and then it got cut off, I apologize. But this live is actually about my tips on what I've learned from doing lives and doing my YouTube videos. So it's called You Go Live and Learn. That's why in brackets I'll have you go live stream and learn so that it doesn't look like it's just saying you go live and learn, although that is obviously a thing. So today I am going to use you because in my last live stream, I could not stop laughing at myself after I watched it. It was so fun doing it, but I realized I'm not even looking at the camera. I'm looking, looks like I'm talking to someone here, or it looks like I'm talking to someone here, and sometimes I'm looking down. And so I'm also doing this as a live stream today instead of a regular uploaded video pre-recorded because I need to practice doing these so that I can see what makes it so that I'm looking right at the camera and what makes it so that it looks like I'm not. Because unless you've done this, you don't understand that it feels like you're looking at the camera. But because of whatever device you're using or because of the screen, it actually is not always as it seems. That's my first tip to you. My second is that I'm supposed to be waiting for a delivery, and I hope I don't get interrupted in the middle of this video, but it's like I couldn't help myself. I know in my mind that the delivery might come and I might have to go downstairs and stop this, but in my heart and in my energy, it's like when I want to do these videos, I just have to do them. Like some of you have commented that in some of my videos, there was distractions around me, or I was at a restaurant and you could hear other noises. And it was because I didn't have a place where I could do the video, but I so needed to do it. And I know that maybe that sounds kind of selfish, but it was like I wanted to share what was inside of me at that moment. And even though I knew that it wasn't the perfectly situated place or time or atmosphere for it, for me inside, my atmosphere inside was like, no, we just have to do this and go for it. And sometimes those have been the best videos for me. And yeah, so my first tip is if you feel like, well, no, this is the second tip. If you feel like just doing it and saying something and sharing it, go for it. Because even though it might not be the exact perfect conditions to do it in, sometimes when you're feeling it so deeply in that moment, it's going to come out the best as far as your words. Like you will not be able to say it the same way later on when you're not feeling it so much. Yeah, the third thing is that when I was watching my live stream last time, I just could not stop laughing at it because there were things that I did that I don't think about. Like somehow I slapped the screen so it looks like my hand is about to hit your face, I realized. And I could not stop laughing at myself because I was looking in another direction, trying to see the letters for to see if there was a chat, anything brought up on the chat. So I didn't realize what was happening with my hands. And my hand was trying to move the screen, but my hand, it was very intrusive almost to the audience. But I couldn't stop laughing because it was hilarious. And I didn't even know that I was doing that. There are things like that we don't even think about. Speaking of hands, I've shared in other videos that I heard this amazing speaker talking about how it's really important to show your hands when you're speaking on a video, especially because there's something about the hands that, besides the fact that they can express as well as your voice or your face, there is something about the hands being shown that apparently builds trust. Because if you're not showing your hands, then you're kind of like, people could assume that you're like, it might look like you're kind of uptight and just holding back, or it could, people could assume that you're like doing something else while you're speaking. Like, we've seen people like talking to someone, but then they're texting at the same time, or they're reading something while they're talking. Like, we've gotten really good at multitasking in this day and age, but it takes away from the focus, which is the audience. And so I was trying to use my hands, not purposely like doing anything like unnatural with my hands, but I was making sure that my hands were seen and not just like closed in. But I realized in some of my videos that I tend to put my hands on my face a lot. Like I'm kind of, and then it covers up the part of me that you can see, or it covers up my words a little bit. So I wanted to work on that as well. This live stream is because I want to practice like what happens when I look in a direction that I think is the center, and I think I'm looking at a screen, but actually for you guys, it's not. So yeah, I'm going to watch it back, but I also wanted to like practice what happens in those different situations. The funny thing is, in the last live stream, closer to the beginning, I was, well, all the way through the beginning, it looked like I was looking in one direction and trying to talk to you guys. And I was like, oh no. But then the weird thing is that I went to read a quote to you guys from my phone. So I had to put my glasses on and read the quote. And I noticed that when I had my glasses on, that whole time I was looking straight at the camera. I don't even know what that's about, because yeah, my eyesight is not amazing without my glasses, but it's not that I can't see which direction is forward, or I can't see the screen. So I was like, what is it about putting my glasses on that made me focus like right in the center? So yeah, I might experiment with that a little bit in this video. But so yeah, I wanted to share tips of what I've learned since I started this channel. The first thing is that if you are thinking about doing this, do it. Just do it, because I have gotten so much out of just doing it. Like, I am shocked at how quickly and how consistently I get idea after idea after idea. And I get so excited to share the ideas. And I just like put it in the notes of my phone. And then the next day or the next few days, I can't wait to tell you guys about it. But it also gives me a place to share things that I wouldn't otherwise necessarily share with all the circles of friends or family or people that are normally around me, because we're all different. And I would say that a lot of the people in those circles aren't necessarily into the things that I'm into. But when I do this and I share it out publicly, but often to strangers, like a lot of you guys I've never met, I feel good that it's your choice on whether you want to listen. Whereas in the other situations, if I were to tell my friends or tell people in my life regularly, I feel like they would almost think that they owe me to listen, but they're not really. It's not stuff that they're really interested in. So I love that, with the internet and stuff, we find through the algorithms videos and people and topics that we're already showing interest in when we're searching on the web. So I really appreciate that. I love the connections that I made with people here that I don't know from like so many different parts of the world. And some of you, I don't even know what your face is or like what you look like or anything like that. And it's interesting that you know mine, but it doesn't make me feel not trusting. It's like, it actually makes me really fascinated by connection and synchronicities, and it's really inspiring. When I first started the channel, I was creating thumbnails for like when you originally click on the video, and all my video thumbnails would come out sideways. And I actually created a video saying, why are all my thumbnail photos on their sides? Well, over time, I learned that it was because the size of the photo, apparently my little old camera on my phone is so good that the quality gives a really high resolution, and the size then is too big for the thumbnail. So it has to flip it on its side. So all I do now is I take the thumbnail that I want, even if I use that high resolution first, and then I go into Paint, resize it to 50% of what it was, and once it's smaller, it can be used the way that I want it to. Sometimes I like it flipped on the side too, so I leave it that way as well. The other thing that I've learned from doing these YouTube channels is that I originally, this is connected to my blog, Dance Me Free. So I wanted to keep it in the niche of like dance related, because otherwise I got scared that I would just start talking about everything. But I kind of have been talking about everything and still relating it back to dance. And actually the lessons that I learned from dance really relate to all these topics. But I was forcing it a lot in the beginning, like thinking, like worrying that if I don't bring up dance, then somebody is going to feel lost. Like, why is she just talking about this now? And I was worried that people would think that I was lost and just creating something out of nothing and not having any focus. But one of my tips is to not let that scare you or hold you back, because I realize now when I've been watching YouTubers that I really admire, maybe their channel is more about relationships, and it started like in romantic relationships, but then they realized the lessons that they were learning also could apply to family relationships or work relationships or relationship with yourself, and that is really important. So I'm so glad they didn't stick to that specific niche, and maybe it was still relationship oriented, but is they're not just talking about the romantic relationships. And so I was like, I should be able to do that too, and I want to do that. I want to be able to branch out, not because I've lost focus, but because I understand that everything is very deeply connected. Yeah. I'm so grateful for doing this channel, because the skills that I have gotten from it, I didn't expect. Like, besides now being able to explain to someone else how to upload a video or how to go into the channel and name it and put tags on it and choose how you want the audience to. I mean, I could even tell someone how you can block people from accessing the channel if they're saying inappropriate things or whatever. But I also have gained so much confidence in speaking, so much confidence in being able to be spontaneous. Like if something that I didn't plan comes up as I'm speaking, I don't panic and think, oh, why did I say that? And oh, I have to change that or whatever. I realize that that might be something that really needed to come out, and I run with it. And it reminds me of when I was teaching, because as a teacher, especially of kids, you never know what's going to come up when you say things. And I've gotten really good at being spontaneous with my own thoughts. Like, and it makes me feel more sure-footed in real life. Like when I'm conversing with people that I don't know, or when I'm out doing things that used to scare me, I feel less intimidated to be in an environment that might be new to me, or I might be faced with people that I don't really know how they're going to react, but I'm like, it's okay, because I'm practiced at speaking about things that are important to me and listening to other people's feedback. And yeah, it's been really great. And when you get to know your own thoughts, it makes you such a strong person. And doing this requires you to be able to express your thoughts. And I think that I do it in a very authentic way. I know I've listened to some speakers that maybe they're saying really important things, but I don't resonate with the way that they're speaking, because it feels very forced, very contrived, very I'm all about planning, don't get me wrong, but it's very pre-planned. Like it almost seems like they've written a script and they're just reading off of it, or they've memorized it. And that doesn't work with me, especially with the content that I'm sharing here. So I would really give advice to be yourself, because I fall in love with people's authenticity. When I think about all the channels that I listen to, it's because that person has an authentic nature about them, and I want to know about their authenticity. I mean, you don't have to share everything about your life, as sometimes I do on this channel, but sharing it in a way that makes it feel like you're a real person is really important to me. So yeah, I just wanted to share some of these tips with you, because there are things that I was worried about, like, oh, the lighting and for a little while I didn't have a little tripod. And so I was setting up my phone, but trying to figure out, like, how am I going to do this so it's steady? I have created some videos on my channel that aren't steady, because I'm holding the phone in front of me and my hand is not steady, but I still went with it. And then Jess Grippo, who is an amazing dancer, but also a really great speaker and writer and inspiration, she had done a video about making videos and how you don't really need a tripod. You can make anything become a tripod. So I started experimenting with, like, just putting my phone on. I have this next time when I can undo it, I can show you, but I have this juicer, and one part of the juicer just happens to, if you put it upside down, has this little nook that my phone fits really well into, and it's a good height to be, like, just above, because they say it's good to have a screen that is not directly in front of you, but a little bit above, because it's more flattering, rather than a screen that's looking up towards you. Yeah, so I've been using that as my tripod, even though now I have my little tripod back. I'm like, no, this is kind of more fun because it's creative and it makes me think of how I'm doing this. So as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing that I don't know if I'm looking at the front of the screen. And I don't know if I have been all this time. I don't even know if I have the chat setting on correctly. But that's another thing. Don't be scared to learn as you go. That's something I've learned, that mistakes are really valuable. And sometimes we learn the most from things going wrong or things, because I wasn't looking at the screen last time, it's made me do this. But I honestly had such a good laugh at myself because I was like, I didn't even know I could make it look like I'm slapping the screen, and that I have this like imaginary friend that I'm talking to here on the side. But it made me show up here today, like instead of doing a pre-recorded video, because I wanted to experiment with this now. And it's kind of addictive, like doing live chats or even pre-recorded chats, and doing these videos is really addictive. Yeah. Some of you guys have brought up some amazing comments, questions. I really appreciate that. I think at one point I will address some of those in more detail. But in regards to one of them, someone had written in, so one person had written in something that was kind of, I don't want to say derogatory, but like maybe not appropriate, and kind of love bombing, but in a crass, like not respectful way to me. And I still responded to him, not because I wanted to give him attention, but I responded to him in a way that made me feel authentic to, like, I didn't tell him off. I just said something, almost ignoring his comment, but saying something in a different direction. And someone else, who really obviously stands for this, like, I got you protective masculine energy, replied to that person, but was sending a message to me saying, maybe you should do a video on something like this, because this is kind of like overly, just saying things to try to flatter someone, but it's obviously not genuine. And I first of all want to say, like, I really appreciate that protective energy. Like, it was someone that is a stranger to me who was protecting me and sort of saying, like, maybe you shouldn't put up with that kind of commentary. It's stuff like that that really amazes me. Someone that doesn't know me, who sees something that they don't find very respectful towards me, and they're kind of being protective of me, and I really appreciated it. I first of all wanted to say I really appreciated it. And I wanted to say that I also wasn't disillusioned about that comment. I was kind of pretending to play dumb so that it didn't become a bigger thing. But I did end up actually blocking that person. So there is a function on YouTube when you have your own channel to block a person from accessing your channel, like, completely. I don't usually use that, but I have a couple of times, because I can tell the person is, like, not even interested and just wanting attention. I don't want to give them the attention, but I also don't want that energy on here. So it's not that I don't want criticism. I could totally be okay with criticism. I welcome it. And, like, helpful criticism and things that may be against what I'm saying. But when it comes down to, being disrespectful and kind of changing the energy of the channel to become something that it isn't, I'm like, I don't need that. But I wanted to say thank you to the person that was obviously standing up for me. I appreciate that. So yeah, I am going to keep doing these. As you saw, I put on my glasses. I wanted to watch it again to see if that made a difference in which direction I was looking. Because, okay, right now I'm looking to the right of me, but maybe you guys see me looking to the left because it's a mirror. Now I'm looking to the left. You guys see me looking to the right. Yeah, sometimes if I'm doing this, because I think I'm looking right at the screen, I'm not sure if that looks like I'm looking down. And there's a little light on my computer, which I think is the camera light. And right now I'm looking right at it. So I'm going to check and see later if that makes it seem like I'm looking up. But like I said, I kind of wanted to use you guys in the best of ways to do this video as a live stream so I could see what happens with that kind of thing, like where I'm looking, how I'm looking. I've tried not to touch my face too much today or cover my mouth. I'm still using my hands to show trust and to show that I'm not distracting myself with other things. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch again. And thanks for being here. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. If I don't have my glasses on, I realized I couldn't read if there were any comments in the chat. So I will be taking that into account. I just like not having the glasses because of the glare. So anyway, thanks for listening and watching, and I will talk to you guys all very soon. Okay, I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see where I'm going to turn this off. And oh, I talked for a while. Okay, ending now. Thanks so much.